Hello all, we are at Daytona for the 400. Good illustration here as to why the Cup car and the Xfinity car need different things. In particular at Daytona and Talladega. I made some shock adjustments. I never make shock adjustments. If I do, they're very careful and whatnot. But we're testing, and it seems to need shock adjustment. And I either didn't go far enough, or went too far. Might have gotten the weight wrong, but it's got speed, but it's the same speed as the setup before my current one. So it's a failure in that way. It does get as fast at the end of the run, but after 2-3 laps, I was that fast in the current setup. So, and that was a failure. Using the same gears. It's where it really fails me though is in maneuverability. So I loosened it up and taking wedge out of it just a couple clicks at a time. And one of the issues is it gets a little bit wobbly, like right here, and it's like a mile, 2 miles an hour slow coming off the turns, because that's where it decides to be tight. Now, funny enough, it picks up more speed down the straightaway. So if I can get it to come off the turn, like I got the Xfinity car to come off the turn, then we're like a mile or 2 miles an hour faster. See, I'm pulling away from these guys down the straightaway. That was slow lap. That's not something that I've been able to really do in the past. Typically, they just draft up to my bumper. Now, yesterday they couldn't even get to my bumper. Today, it's not so much they can get to my bumper, it's that they can get more organized to get a run. So you can say they can get to my bumper. You're looking at the gap there. And that's okay. I'm used to that. The Xfinity setup is the one setup that's a little bit different. And the way they do the Cup cars compared to the trucks and Xfinity, they are a little harder. They are a little faster against you, versus you than the Xfinity and the trucks. So they are, they're harder to pass, they're harder to outdrive, etc., etc. See, but my one night, they got faster because they made adjustments, I'm sure. So I got faster. But the harder that they push me, the faster I go. Like, in a league race, I'd probably be doing about 3 miles an hour faster overall. So the 200 would be, 203. The 204 would be 207, which I'm pretty used to seeing. But the 199s coming out of the turns, that's the killer, especially on this backstretch here. See, I'm tight. I have to pull on the wheel too much. And I venture to say I'm probably tight in the front end, or I don't have enough front weight, or I don't know. I did some spring adjustments as well, trying to then it was 198. So I backed off on my. I took more wedge out of it. I'm running about the same speed. Just that the second place cars started out a little bit closer to me than the other ones. So right here. So I wanted to go from, my other setup is like, it's 201. And then, at the beginning of the run, I'm like 204 into turn 3. and then later on I'm 205. So I wanted to bring that, make that 201 rock solid, and then go to 202, and then of course do 205 and 206 at the end of the run. So I failed in that. I have to not necessarily go back to the drawing board, but we have to change something. The other thing is I kind of feel like the front end is not planted. That's why I made some shock adjustments. But they basically just made the nose tighter off right there. So I basically created the situation that we talked about yesterday in the Xfinity race, where RCR had solved. I made myself tight off the turns. Just a tick, but if I don't pull it, the nose comes off the yellow line. Yeah, I have to. In doing that, I lose a mile an hour. And they start pulling back on me, but then we go down into turn 1 and trying to gang up on me, but I pulled them a little bit. So, kind of a mixed bag, but not on the negative side, just a little bit. This would be a better one. And just like yesterday, if I let them go, they'll pull me. And if I get in front of them, they'll push me. Yeah, I slowed it down, so I gotta back up a little bit. The other, I mean, if you look at the tire wear, right sides are right even. Temperatures are even almost even. So I basically I tightened it up just a little bit more. I know it just went to 1%. But typically you want for the fastest setup, you want that right rear to slip. You want it to wear a little bit more, as much as 4% in a run. And it's been only wearing 2%. I'd rather that right rear. And there's other things you can do if it slips. I have set up, the faster setup is it slips, but it doesn't wear that much. It doesn't wear more because it's looser in the right rear. But see, here is where it would just turn. And it doesn't. I have to yank it. And anytime you're yanking the wheel, you're losing speed. Okay. We got 48 laps left. We can go to the end. Okay, so we'll. This is what I ran 500 last time. Put that up. I'm just looking at. Yeah. Let's do that. And watch that. See if that helps. Now I can make it to the end. If there's no more cautions, I can go about 51 laps without saving. In the lead. Never lifting. Slow down. It's not good. Can't use the craft here. It should be okay. They should bunch up into 3 and 4. You get behind the guy that's closest to you. And it turns to get down by the yellow. Yeah, should be alright. In the beginning of it, they're on still not good. It's horrible. he falls back too far. See how the nose is bouncing around? Yeah. That's affecting the steering. And it's killing my maneuverability. 43 laps to go. I got 45 in the tank. I should tip up another couple of laps. I don't normally do. On a brake, never lifted. See, they still do the same things, but they do them, they don't leave you as much time. Like McMurray would stay up a little longer, I might give me enough time to get my nose under him. It just takes you longer to get through the field. But again, like I said, that makes it a little harder, so it's not a horrible thing. Well, that's the setup. That's the other thing it does, is it's I had a setup like this before, is it's more susceptible to side draft, to rear side draft, especially entering the transition out of turn 2 and turn 4. And it's the worst when you're in a pack of cars like this. So I gotta fix it just on those principles. See? Yeah. Side draft just wanted to pull me around. You can't help it get close, you know, when they're 3 wide, so. And this is, you know, part of the maneuverability issue. So you see, if you watch the Xfinity race, I rarely move the steering wheel that much. The whole race, even coming up through the field like this. And if I was in the Xfinity car, I'd clear Ryan here, and I would go high, but car is just not under me. So I'm just going to be patient and work my way up. I know I pretty much got the race in the bag if I don't screw up. The goal is not to screw up. Take what we learned and, you know, go a little bit different direction next time. Again, we ain't slow, but it's not easy to drive. So if I was going to race, I'd back up and use my last version setup, which is the fastest. Wow. I was gonna go high, and then he went high. Took me by surprise. And then I overcorrected in my adjusted state. Look at that. It's tighter right front. Look at that, man. I did not tighten it up that much. I actually took 2 clicks away down. Which also says that there's an inherent instability that's causing my issues, and it's not a straightforward problem that I could solve in race. I probably have the wrong weights. But we still made it back to the front. Not have helped the maneuverability issue at all, but I think we might have helped the speed a little bit. No. Not really. And you can see we're at 87 tire wear, whatever, however many laps in, and it's not loose, it's tight. In fact, we made it tighter. So if we do get another caution, what I'll do is I'll take the tire pressures down on the left side. I don't know, maybe what this setup needs, instead of, for stability, instead of adding wedge, maybe it needs the wedge taken out of it, like I did. That made it tighter. But it helped somewhere, because I seem to be a little bit more consistently fast now, quicker. Even though I might be slow here off the turn, 199. I seem to maybe have gained a little down the straightaways. Not that time, but he moved over. What is that, Bowman? Yeah. Let's keep. Yeah, it's terrible. Makes the jump off. So it's kind of faster, but I kind of can't tell, because usually, when I come to Daytona, Talladega, I have a setup that is, tried and true. I know exactly what to expect, what it should do or shouldn't do, and this is kind of new for the last couple of years. I took a big radical swing at it, and it's not killing it, and it's not really helping it. As it comes faster, early in the, relatively earlier in the run, 204s. So I did help it, but I didn't help it completely. It's still not a race-ready setup at the moment. So Xfinity nailed it. Cup still needs work. I'm not behind the 8 ball by far, but still needs work. Truck, I don't know. We didn't work on the truck setup. Truck is kind of different. Whoa. It's not one hand ready either. Because it's darty, so it turns and then it doesn't turn, and it turns and it doesn't turn. And you can see it's kind of, the front end is kind of bouncing around too much, which is probably contributing to the stability issue. My setups typically do that, but they don't do it in a bad way, so I got it tuned like the opposite of what it means. It's hurting me instead of helping me. Overall. See, 81 and 81, I tightened it up. Wow, I loosened it up, but I tightened it up. Oh. The Bowman's staying close to me. This one. Yeah, 198. See, yeah, that's slowed it down. But yeah, you know what it is? I think I slowed myself down, but he's pushing me better because he's closer. I noticed this earlier. So that's something you got to look out for. Are you really faster, or are you just getting more help from the AI guys? Because I am slower than I was earlier. They're making more runs. I would have like two attempted runs per stage for restart, or per fuel run. At the beginning, you know, when everybody's bunched up and they're getting a good draft, and then later on when we get under 10 laps to go, they always bunch up and make an attempt. Not like yesterday where, you know, they were totally nowhere near enough to get even to my bumper. So here they are, and they're doing it more and earlier, so definitely went backwards. Wow, a whole mile an hour slower. Well, it definitely made this, what I expected to be even more boring than last night run, exciting. I know it might not look exciting from your point of view, but I have to drive it the whole way around the track simply because all my steering inputs have to be different, or else I will slide out of the groove, hit the curb, you know, move up too high and let them draft by me. Here's a legitimate attempt. So I get down here and I watch in the mirror and I see if they're moving forward. But typically, the reason why I get down is I don't give them anything to draft on. The guy directly behind me, he's going to be in my draft anyway. But the guy on the outside, you know, needs as much help as he can get to get up to me. So if you deny him that help, see, they're staying down here, they might move forward, but they're not going to get even. And the second place car moving out in front, just helped me. Doesn't mean it's over, because if anything, you know, this is the end of the race, and even though they probably have to pit, they're gonna try more and more to see if they can get a run on me and get organized. See, Bowman's doing my job for me. Thank you, Bowman. I'm not even his teammate. If you remember, I'm in that car. Can't drive right now. See, we got faster at 199 now. That's the fuel burning off. 203 over there. Okay, so now that I have submitted a half a lane up, and just pull right in on me. So it's so critical, especially when you're lead racing and everybody is faster and closer in speed than you are to these AI guys, to be able to hold your line. Stay in your groove. You get some guys who, they see a sliver of daylight and they're sticking their nose in there, and next thing you know, you're being knocked out of the way instead of, passed. And it's, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't take your spot away. They never get it back. Because it's like racing, right? I was going to win a really cool race here. I think it's here at Daytona or Talladega. In Heat 4, there was a bunch of pro leaguers and a few buddies of mine in an endurance race, and I was leading coming down to the end of the race. I didn't have this set up. I had it was a little slower, but it was still fast. I had a couple things I was doing at the time that no one else was doing, and I got to the lead basically by just keeping my nose clean. I was racing with guys, pro leaguers, that were a lot faster than me at that time, 5 years ago, and I managed to get the lead under 20 laps to go or something, 15 laps to go, and I'm leading, and it's all cool, everything is cool, and I'm probably going to win the race. And coming off 4, because it was a setup kind of like this, it just moved up, and the guy in second place, a really nice guy, he just move up, and the car, being on your bumper will automatically go under you. It's not like you can stomp on the brake or something, but that can, have issues too. And it's near the end of the race, so he saw daylight, legitimate daylight, and he went under there. And when I came back down, I was pulling it back down, I made contact with him, just contact, and I stopped. And I went from the lead to like 12th. I think I finished 12th. That was the line of cars we had in that lead pack. That was like a could have been, you know. But it also showed me that I wasn't slow. I just needed to work on maneuverability too. You know, you gotta be fast. It's gotta be drivable, but it's gotta be maneuverable to me. Because there's a perfect example of where I lost the race because it wasn't maneuverable, even though it was drivable. And that's why I do this, running these practice, test series, races, you know, doing different things, just trying to figure out what they did, you know, because a lot of it to me is how they decided to make the physics work. Because some things work fine, but I think part of the issue that we all deal with is that we all race with the guy who's faster than us. Well, unless you're the fast guy in that, you know, situation. And we're at the point where our setups are so fast, we are maybe 2 seconds a lap at a lot of tracks faster than they are in real life with you know, with the same cars. And that's kind of pushing the upper edge of the envelope, and we're running basically a simulation of the same rules package that they were using, what, 2019 in this game, 2020 in Heat 5. So they've made changes. That's why Heat 4 and Heat 5 are just a little bit different. And they made changes in the game. I don't know if they made changes in the game to reflect it. It was accidental because of the quirks of the language that Heat 5 and Heat 4 are made in. It was basically a copy and paste situation, but they did change it a little bit. And you know, and like I say a lot of times, this game and Heat 5, when they made some major updates, it did change the way my cars drove at all the tracks. Maybe slower in both situations. And I know that a couple of those updates, the last ones were for the Pro League events and the Pro League season, the last one that they had on V4, and then the events that they ran, like 4 events a year, 4 events in the winter, 4 events in the summer, I forget exactly how they did it. And they needed to update it because they needed to change some sponsorship things at those tracks, you know, for the Pro League guys. But we got, you know, different AI once or twice, and improved some other, you know, things added. But the tracks changed, you know. Heat 5 got slipperier. Heat 4 got slipperier, but still with a lot of grip. And that's like basically what I kind of feel that they did. I had Evolution, but, you know, I'll talk about that. And Heat 2, I just could not get my wheel to work on it no matter what I did. So I you know, got it refunded. And then Heat 3 came out, was the first in the series that really kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. And it had a lot of grip, you know, basically tight everywhere. And, you know, I know how to loosen the cars up, and I got faster. I wasn't stupid fast, because Heat 3, I got late, and I was only on it for maybe 8 months before Heat 4 came out. And then I jumped on Heat 4 right away, and I think it came out in July of that year, I want to say. And by September, I was looking to get online and join the league, because it was very similar to the Heat 3, but it was a little better. It was looser, which kind of says to me that there was a little less grip in the tracks. And then when Heat 5 came out, it was the same thing. You know, initially there was less grip than Heat 4 starting out, and then Heat 4 got less grip in the updates, and then Heat 5 as they updated it, they took away some grip, or it just magically disappeared because of the glitches in the programming language, which was a big deal. It's a programming language that they use for the Heat series, even which is the same as the NASCAR 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. Does not like updates. You kind of like, it likes rewriting the whole thing from scratch. It doesn't like getting in there and doing little fine-tuning on it. It tends to mess with things that are unrelated and so on and so forth. But I'm just wondering at this point, with what we know, with I don't blame the programmers. I don't blame those guys, because those guys are really good guys. But I'm wondering if management just said, what's the next version? Let's take a little grip out of it. Because at the time, we were all talking about, and the drivers were talking about, like, not repaving Atlanta, not repaving New Hampshire, not repaving tracks, because Auto Club, they decided to kill it, because it gave the racing better character, the drivers liked it, it added excitement, and so on and so forth. And, each year, though, it got a little less grip. So I'm wondering if the Heat team was like, yeah, well, we could do that too. We could make it more realistic by doing it. But I don't think that they did it in the incremental way that they either intended, or that in real life it works. And they took chunks of grip out, which made you faster, but it came up with an even harder issue of getting the car faster half a fuel run. Oh boy. We're not going to hit. But making the car faster for half a fuel run, and then you get too loose, you can't drive it. And basically, that's what happened and it happened in Heat 5, because we already had that square. It just, all my setups just came out to lunch, which was very disheartening. And then, if you went to a track that you didn't go to a lot, and say, I had a really good Heat 4 setup, put the Heat 4 setup, and it was just wrecking loose. Because Heat 4 had a lot more grip than Heat 5 did after that update. And I remember, I always struggle with the road courses. And I just went back to the drawing board, and I grabbed my buddy who was a pro leader, ran tremendously well at Road America. I grabbed his Heat 4 Pro League setup that he had given me. Couldn't drive it on Heat 4, but understanding more how to drive it in the Heat series, how to drive in the Heat series, I took his setup and I put it in there, and it was way too loose. I said, you know what? But see, I know enough to know that the front end was good. The front end was right. And I'm like, it's just too loose. So I said, well, what's the easiest way to not upset, the setup too much, but tighten it up? And I was like, well, the rear end. So, the rear end is like 300 degrees after turn 3 and spinning out. So I just took the springs down. And I ended up taking it down 4 clicks, 400 pounds out of each of the rear springs. And I took overtime. And I took that setup. And I made what everybody else is doing, a certain kind of camber adjustment. Played with the tire pressures overall just a little bit. And I came up with a road course setup I would dream of having. You know, everybody's so much faster now, but at the time, the fast lap in Cup was like the stupid fast lap was like 2:02, 2 minutes, 2 seconds or something, and I was able to hit that. And you know, racing, I was able to hit 3s and 4s and be consistent. And you know, and I was running like 2:08 was like my fastest lap before that, and it helped me fine tune my other road course setups. I don't have a road course win in actual league competition in the Heat Series, and that's fine. I'm not really a road course racer. Heat gives you a lot of stuff that I didn't have in older series. White flag, X flag ends it. But should actually put it in the race here before I blow the info. You can't blow the info. Don't worry about it. You just get slower. You get over 250 temperature-wise, you lose horsepower. I just made this last lap harder. It'll come back. There we go. We got it. Okay, so yeah, another win, but got another test where we're not another unsuccessful test where what we learned did not make us faster. And you know, it happens sometimes. But you know, that's essentially, this is the scientific method. You know, I'm a big fan of the scientific method. It just is very time consuming. And essentially what the scientific method is, and this is how a lot of race teams approach it, is you go make a change and then you test it. You know, typically like if it was in practice, right, you put a base setup in, you go to the new tracks, you put a base setup in, you get it from the local fast guy, he'll give you a setup that'll run, might not be the fastest, but it'll get you around the track without spinning out or hitting the wall. And then you take that and you go and you run 10 laps. And you make an adjustment, and you run 10 laps, and you make another adjustment, and you run 10 laps, and each time you record what the car is doing, the driver's impressions, and it's a long process. That's why a lot of short tracks have hot laps. Usually it's like a 2-hour session, the day before or the day of the race before qualifying, and give you time to to work the car up and fine tune it. Takes a lot of time, and I'd rather be racing like pretty much everybody who loves racing, and we had a caution and I had to work my way back up. I'm just sitting here thinking what I can do to this cup setup to get it handling like the Xfinity setup and faster. What is it doing? Oh, look at that. I is a dragon. Look at that. Look at that. I had a setup that put it on the ground. I never saw that before though. Look at that, I'm dragging that ass. Getting that spoiler out of the wind. That might be too, that might be too much. That might be, what it is I got the right rear on the ground too much. Look at that. Has anybody ever seen that? I have not seen that. This is one of the reasons why I watch the replay. I do the replays and I watch them. Because you can learn things about what's going on with the car or your driving. And we talked about, the wheel on on shorter tracks. I mean, look at that, look at that. I am right on the ground now. So I wonder to make this setup come alive, because it's tight, right? If I just, because I have the left rear on the ground. I have it totally on the ground. What if I get it off the ground? You know, like what if I go, say, up 2 clips on the rear? I wonder if that'll wake this thing up. But now I know how to check that. And why do you only see it in the turns? Because that was it. Because the turns are banked at 31 degrees. So the lower you are to the ground, you know, to the track, in the banking is when it'll show up on the right rear. That's only one issue though. I was having another issue. I'm just looking at it. Let's see? Okay, so I learned something important that I had no clue. Imagine that. I've run setups like that. I really got that fast in this run. That is fast. That was drafting up. So again, we're not slow. But definitely that's probably part of the issue there. We got it down too far. I mean, we get the left front up too much, and that's causing the front end instability. We bring the back end up, the front end comes down back to maybe where it should be. I never ran the rear end so low. I was, you know, trying stuff. Okay, so we learned something important. Now we don't have to abandon this setup and start over or back it up and go in a different direction. Now we can build on it. You know, just make some good adjustments. Okay, let's see. Danny has to say.
Everyone loves racing with you. You are professional on and off the track. A heck of a racer.
How do you know me off the track? Okay. Now what about the guys that are mad at me? Really? Okay, well, Bubba was pissed at me. Okay, but Hamlin and Keselowski were angry with me, but didn't show up there. So, I don't know. Well, Kentucky in the Xfinity Series will next up, and we will get to that. But for tonight, thank you for coming along for the ride. Literally, I guess. We're inching closer to that 4.5 million mark. Look at that. Another 300 grand, almost 3.7 million. So another 800, 900,000, and we'll be able to buy that last car. Finish fleshing out the Xfinity team. Well, we got to make a decision what type of car to buy. We'll make a video about that when we get to that point. But other than that, we're doing okay. And thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, ask me questions, and we will see you next time.